morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're doing well. Hope that your day is treating you well so far, whether you're just waking up or maybe you're heading down. Whichever way this video finds you and place that this video finds you, hope that everything is going okay. Today we're going to be listening to a little bit of Cilla and Artie. I hope that I'm pronouncing their names correctly. We're going to be listening to the track Generations of Change. This will be coming off of their album, Cilla and Artie, released in 1979. We're checking this out as it was recommended and sponsored by John. John, thank you so much for the request, for sending this one over and in. I can't say that I've heard of the two. I can't say that they sound familiar. But you had mentioned that this is a contemporary Scottish folk song written by Matt Armour, the lyrics of which are quite effective. So I'm pulling it up right now so we can go ahead and give it a listen. We will discuss it, of course, after Generations of Change. Here we go.
My father was a bailiff for a wee farm at Capeley. He worked on the land all the days of his life. By the time he made second, he aye said he reckons he'd ploughed near on half o' the East Nuke of Fife. He'd feed on at Grandiston, Crawhill and Cliffington, Cambo and Carnby and Biggerenny Hill. At Kingsbarns he's married, at Boar Hills he's buried, but man, had he lived, he'd be ploughing on still. For those days were his days, those ways were his ways, to follow the plough while his back was still strong. But those days have passed and the time came at last for the weakness of age to make way for the young.
Generations come and go.
I wasn't for plough into the sea, I was going to follow the fish and the fisherman's ways. In rain, hail and sunshine I've watched the line run line, me man mere contented his hail working day. I've lang lined the flatten ground, Dutch and the Dogger bank, pulled the big fish fae the deep devil's hole. I've sight-trawled off Shetland, the Faroes and Iceland, in weather much worse than a buddy could hold.
I really like
For that day was my day,
simplicity.
That way was my way, to follow the fish while my back was still strong. But that day has passed and the time come at last for the weakness of age to make way for the young. My sons, they have grown and away they have gone to search for black oil in the far northern sea. Like oilmen they walk and like Yankees they talk, there's no much in common between my sons and me. They've rough-rigged on Josephine, Ortiz and Ninian, Claymore and Dunlin, Fisher and Hawk. They've made fortunes for sure, for in one run ashore they spent more than I am in a hail season's work. But this day is their day, this way is their way.
I love that slow down in
to
that
ride
voice.
their off-rigs while their backs are still strong. But this day will pass and the time come at last for the weakness of age to make way for the young. My grandsons are growing to the school they're soon going, the lang weeks of summer they spend here with me. We walk through the warm days, talk o' the old ways, the cornfield and codfish, the land and the sea. We walk through the fields that my father once tilled, talk way the old men that once sailed with me.
I like the
Man's been awfully good, I've shown them all I could, oh, the past and the present, what their future might be.
You'll see when we pull up the lyrics, that's really
What will
good.
be their day? What will be their way? What will they make o' the land, sea and sky? Man, I've seen awfully changed, but it still seems guy strange to look at my world through a young laddie's eyes.
We're going to spend some time on the lyrics because, yeah, the lyrics are really, really fantastic. It really captures the name of this track, Generations of Change. And as different generations come and go, but the things that are held on to and passed down between the generations and perhaps to make a better future for those generations at the bottom, so to speak. I think that is really, really well written, very effective. And like I said, we're going to spend some time on the lyrics here in just a bit. The music itself, really nice as well. I like how, of course, it has a very traditional sound to it. I like how it sets one particular pace in the verse, but then the chorus, it slows things down and it becomes a little bit more reflective, a little bit more empty before a certain instrument may introduce itself in there. And that also fits very well with the chorus, in which that is the moment of reflection. The verse acts as the action, the history, the present, whatever's happening, and the verse is kind of reflecting upon it, the past, present, and future of that. So, of course, as I'm looking at the Discogs page and I'm looking at who's performing what, of course, you have Cilla Fisher on the vocals, along with Artie Trezise on vocals, guitar, piano as well, and some lap organ, along with many other performers here on the album as a whole. And their voices are so earthly, so folky and beautiful to listen to. And I like how, like I said, their singing to me is very earthy. It's not some perfect, corrected, smooth kind of singing. It's just like, what it was the phrase? There's a word. There's a phrase I'm thinking of. Like just normal people. Just normal people singing about normal things, but doing it in such a profound way. Salt of the earth, perhaps, is the phrase I'm thinking of. And I think that they really sound really great in this track. And the swing that they lull into is really nice. I was trying to find exactly who else is playing, but I think it's just them actually performing on this particular track. As I look here on the credits, that's all I see. Although we do have other musicians here involved: harmonica, Jim Houston, in pipes, of course, Alistair Anderson, and so on and so forth. So you do hear some other sounds kind of waft in and out, especially in the chorus, different sounds coming in there. But overall, it's really pretty much straightforward. Now, I said I wanted to spend some time here on the lyrics, so that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to mispronounce things. I'm going to try and do it as best as I can. I may just Americanize this. I apologize. My father is a bailey from a wee farm, like Highpley. He worked on the land days of his life. By the time he made second, he reckoned he plowed near on half of the east Newton Fife. He fed on at Ranston, Crawhill, and Seffington, Cambo and Carnby, and Kilrenny Mill. At Kingsbarn he married, at Boris Hill he's buried, but man, had he lived, he'd be plowing on still. Okay, so it's talking about, this person's father, working on the farm, plowed everywhere. He was a hard worker. He was married here. He was buried here, but he was a strong man. He was a strong father. And if he was still alive, he'd keep on plowing and keep on working. Okay, first generation, the chorus. For those days were his days, those ways were his ways, to follow the plow while his back was still strong. But those days have passed, and the time came at last for the weakness of age to make way for the young. And so we move now to the next generation, his son. I wasn't for plowing the sea. I was going, right? The sea was his calling. To follow the fish and the fisherman's ways. In rain, hail, and sunshine, I have watched the long run line, nor man ne'er content his whole working day. I've long lined the flattened ground, the Dutch, the Dogger Bank, pulled the big fish from the deep devil's hole. I've side-trawled off Shetland, the Faroes, and Iceland, in weather much worse than a body could hold. For that day was my day. That was my way, to follow the fish while my back was still strong. But that day has passed, and the time come at last for the weakness of age to make way for the young. So now, moving to the next generation, his son. So, it's really cool how, the father has something that calls to him, he does it, and then the son, something else calls to him, he does it. And, I think that is really great, that progression there. My sons, they have grown, in a way they have gone. Take search for black oil in the far northern sea. Like oilmen they walk, like Yankees they talk. There's no much in common between my sons and me. There's not a lot that we relate to. I was a fisherman, they're oilmen. They've rough rigged on Josephine, 40s and Ninian, Claymore and Dunlin, Fisher and Auk. They've made fortunes for sure in one run ashore. They spend more than I earned in a whole season's work. So they've done better for themselves. And listen, my sons are not the same as me, but they've done well. This day is their day. This way is their way, to ride the rough rigs while their backs are still strong. But this day will pass, and the time come at last for the weakness of age to come to make way for the young. Now, my grandsons are growing to the school that they're going, but the long weeks of summer now is even lower in age. These aren't even working children. Now they're just going to school. The long weeks of summer they'll spend here with me. We walk through the warm days, talk of the old ways, the cornfield, the codfish, the land and the sea, right? The plowing, the fishing, the oil, and the sea. We walk through the fields that my father once tilled, talk with the old men that once sailed with me. Man, it's been awful good to show. I've shown them all I could over the past and the present, what their future might be. For their morn will be their day. What will be their way? Don't even know yet what their destiny, what they will be. What will they make of their land, sea, and sky? Man, I've seen awful lot of change, but it still seems, guys, strange to look at my world through a young laddie's eyes. Isn't that incredible lyrics? The progression here, and I like how the perspective. We start from someone talking about their father. Then they talk about themselves. Then they talk about their sons, and then they talk about their grandsons. So I like how we even have a specific perspective of person that we're reading and listening to this from. This is incredible. This is a really, really fantastic song. Of course, Cilla and Artie sang this track on their album. They noted a new song written by Matt Armour, reminding us of the rapid changes that have taken place in the East Nuke of Fife. We've had a great response from audiences to this song. Several Fife people have told us the story is true to their family, and everyone seems to enjoy its optimism. Yeah, because it ends on a beautiful, hopeful note of who knows what the next generation will bring and do. I think I really, really like the lyrics. That is incredibly effective. Let me know, of course, what you all thought down below in the comments as well. John, thank you so much for sending that in. You weren't kidding. The lyrics are very, very relatable, beautiful, and it really makes you think as well about the past and then the future. I think that's really, really great. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.